All right, welcome back to another 5 minutes lesson in Excel. In this lesson, we want to take a look at how we use VLOOKUP or vertical lookup. So let's jump to screen so we can get that done. Now, VLOOKUP allows you to look up for a particular value from a table and pass that value into another table that you may want, right? So it's vertical lookup. So I'm looking for a value from one table and returning a particular column from that value. So let's see how it works. So say, for example, I wanted to look up a particular name, right? So let's say we have names, we have code for the district they live in, and we have their actual address. And maybe I should have typed this out before, but I'm going to put two names. Let's say Bob and Paul and John, right? Let's use three names. So Bob lives at Belize City at number 2 Mill Road. The other person lives at Kaya District at number 12 Main Street. And the other person lives in Toledo District at number 24 Busy Lane, right? And let's say we want to return here in another table. We have their name, we have the amount of money they receive, and we also have a address that we want returned. Now remember that you may have a longer list, right? So we have Bob, let's say John, let's mix it up, and say Paul, and let's say Bob gets $200, Paul gets $230, so gets $233. All right, so we want to look up the address for this particular person from the address table that you would have had in a previous list. So this would be your list of customers, and we want to fill in this part of the table using whatever is here. So to do that, we use something called a vertical lookup system. Now what this does is that we can say equal VLOOKUP, and I want to read this part for you, equal VLOOKUP, and it actually tells us earlier what the VLOOKUP does, and so it searches for a particular value from here that exists in this table and returns the column number. So remember that. So when I type in equals VLOOKUP, the lookup value is, I want to look up this name, so G4, comma, the table array is this entire table with the data, comma, and the column index to return, I want to return the address, which is in column 1, 2, 3. So return column number 3, close bracket. Now, see, it's Bob Gill Road, right? So the problem is that if I wanted to autofill this particular function, it would change the A4 to C to A5 and C6 to C7, which would take us in the wrong direction. So if you could remember, we really have two options. We can use absolute cell reference, or we can name the cell range. Let's do it using absolute cell reference first. So we'll lock in the cell by $A, $4, $C, $6. That way, when we autofill this, it will remain as A4 to C6, okay? So we can autofill that, and here's what happens. We see an error, right? So the error is John does not live on number 1 Gill Road. John from our table live on number 24 Busty Lane, right? So it means that something is wrong. Now, one of the things I did not tell you in the beginning was that the VLOOKUP requires that your table that you're looking in be in alphabetical order. So let's do that, and you guys remember from one of our previous lessons how we sorted data. So let me select this. We want this to be in alphabetical order. So I'll go to sort and filter. I'll do a custom filter. I'll sort by column C. The values, that's okay, A to Z. Let me do it again. So sort. Oh, did it sort? No, it sorted wrong. All right. Sort, custom sort, column A, sorry, A to Z. Good. So our data in the table that we're looking in must be sorted in alphabetical order, ascending order, right? So now if we look here, John belongs to that particular area. So that's using Vlookup, vertical lookup to search for data from a particular table. The other way of doing this is by naming your cell range, which we did in lesson number 10, right? To name your cell range, again, if you remember, we can select our data, go to the name box, and type in our cell range. So let's say the cell range is address. And press enter. So in here now, instead of typing in the absolute cell reference, I will type in that I want it to search in address and return column number 3. So that's still right. So now when I autofill this, it keeps the same thing, but the formula is now address, right? And so that's how you use Vlookup to fill in your data. So remember that Vlookup is used to check a particular table for a particular record, cross-check against another table, and return the value, right? And we have two ways of doing this. We can use absolute cell reference to reference back to our cell, or we can use our cell range name as we did in lesson number 10.